Have you found a bunny?
Bunny?
Easter?
Oh. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Impulso podcast by Momentum Works. So on today's episode, we're going to be talking about Chagee, and of course, more recently, Chagee's IPO. So when did they IPO
Last Friday.
Last Friday.
Last Friday.
Chagee IPO. They went public on Nasdaq under the stock ticker CHA. C-H-A.
Yes, the market responded very, very positively the first day, and the price went up almost 16%.
So it gave the market cap of about 6 billion US.
Billion. Yeah.
6 billion. So it's interesting that their stock ticker is CHA, right? Because
CHA.
CHA is Chinese for tea.
It's Mandarin Chinese for tea. Yeah, and it's also similar in many languages, right? If you go to like India, if you go to Arabia, it's also chai. I think it's similar in Russian as well.
This is something we did kind of a small slide on. I think Phyllis, you can edit it when you're editing on in our bubble tea episode. Yeah, in our bubble tea report. Essentially, is it called cha or tea or teh? Teh is.
It's Southern Min, or in Southeast Asia they call it Hokkien. It's one of the dialects, and it's funny if you look at this map, right? I mean, across China, only in this region is called teh. And of course, but globally, many countries many languages took this pronunciation because historically they traded with China via the maritime Silk Road, right?
Maybe in Japan they call it like Hojicha and Matcha also.
It's cha, yeah.
So it's probably by land.
Japan has to be by sea because Japan is a series of islands.
So another interesting thing about Chagee, which we were discussing, I think last week or something, I was asking Phyllis, I can't remember when, is that their logo is very, very similar to Starbucks.
It is indeed similar, yeah.
But this isn't their original logo. So obviously when Chagee first started in China, they had a more traditional logo, right? It was a little more similar to Cha Yan Yue Se.
Many people say that the Chagee actually copied from Cha Yan Yue Se in terms of the drinks and the design, etc. So Cha Yan Yue Se is this chain coming off the central city of Changsha, which has pretty good products, but for a long time they just restricted themselves to one city.
But they're like everywhere in Changsha. I remember.
Last year I was there. I mean, at the 7th Street corner, I see 6 stores. So,
but they're not really out of Changsha yet.
They started. Recently. Where was I? I was in Chongqing, and they started opening stores there. So some people say that because they wanted to focus on occupying Changsha before going elsewhere, because all the good spots in Changsha, I mean, 6 stores on the same junction. Imagine if you had only one store there, the 5 could be your competitors.
I think you have a picture. You have a picture of that, right?
Yeah, you can find that. Yeah.
So it's kind of different, right? Because Chagee also kind of started in. Did they start in Changsha?
Chagee started in Yunnan, the province. So this is where the founder grew up, and I think he stopped studying at a very young age. And then he went to work for a store,
Milk tea store.
a milk tea store under Chapanda, which is another brand. And then he grew like from just I think a normal employee to the head of the store, etc.
I think the founder is interesting, right? Because this is something that you're sharing with us. Essentially, when they IPO'd, a lot of investors kind of told you that they regretted missing the chance to invest in.
Well, many investors have been regretting that for the last 2 years.
Do you think that like there was a chance that they looked down on the founder? Because obviously, like we mentioned, compared to maybe other chains out there, the founder of Chagee isn't as educated.
Yes, rumors. I mean, I think there's some reports saying that he didn't even do primary school education, which is kind of rare in China because the government mandates like 9 years of basic education. So he spent a lot of time working in the real world before he started. I'm here. Well, how old is he? 32 years old. So he started 8 years ago. So he was 24, and by that time he already had like 8 years of working experience.
I saw that there were a lot of news articles that said that he is now a billionaire because of the IPO.
Yeah, because of the IPO, he became 8 years of.
At 32, he's a billionaire at 32.
It depends, right? When you run this kind of businesses that are so operations heavy, I mean, what would a degree do for you?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it can get you to write very nice PowerPoint slides, but you can also hire. You can also hire someone to do it. I mean, you probably need a degree to read financial statements, but you can also learn it in a hard way. So I think Haidilao, you know Haidilao, right?
Yes.
The hot pot chain. They hired him as a non-executive director, I think 2 years ago. So I think Hadilao's management is very shrewd. So they must have seen something in him. I think the same reason why XVC and other investors who invested in him, and I mean, they probably saw something.
I mean, it's probably like something about his personality or maybe his experience. He understands the scene well, or he at least knows what's going on.
Maybe he's like confident.
I think having dealt with lots of investors from China, they can see through a good speaker versus a good operator. I mean, this is unlike many of the Indonesian VCs. We see that they only invest in people who have a good profile.
So obviously, Chagee has been doing very well, which is why they managed to do so well when they went public, right? So they have about almost 6,500 stores, not just in China but overseas as well.
Yes, they have about 150 in Malaysia, a few in Singapore, and a few in Thailand, right? So, but you see the growth, right? 83% growth from 2023 to 2024. They had a GMV of almost 30 billion. So 25,000 cups sold average per month.
No, but when we were previously in Shanghai earlier this year, right? Every big tourist attraction had at least 1 to 2 Chagee, and every single one of those outlets were very heavily populated. Like there were a lot of people.
Yeah, so they went actually quite aggressive with the tourist spots, right? So I think you can go to the slide with the Starbucks. So they fight for very, very prime real estate, and of course many of these cases is the franchisee who's paying all the costs, and that gave them a significant brand exposure. And if you look at the store format, it's large format, right? It's similar to Starbucks. I mean, you have a place to sit.
Their store format is actually a lot more similar to Starbucks.
It's unlike most of the bubble tea stores that you have seen, right?
Most of them are just like usually a small kiosk that aren't really like seating areas, but Chagee really has a very premium like store design. Even the stores in Singapore, it's not just a big space, but it's like very well designed.
But if you think about it, right, it's quite like Starbucks is very woody, it's like dark, but Chagee is like bright. It's like
it's a lot brighter
on
than
the opposite end of the spectrum.
And
their
they still
colours
want
are
you
also
to
different.
sit there.
It's like red versus green,
So at its IPO, I mean, we look at these numbers. We said, okay, obviously it has grown a lot for the last. I think they got the investment in 2022, so last 2.5 years, 3 years, it has grown a lot. A friend of mine who is a veteran consumer investor, and he went to speak with lots of franchisees. And it seems a lot of them are complaining for the last few months about declining sales. You can see that I think it had a significant climb in 2023 to more than 500,000 RMB per month per store, but it has since declined. So obviously in Q4 2024, you see a significant drop compared to Q3 2024, and even if you remove the seasonality effects, it's still a quite significant drop.
But this problem is not just unique to Chagee, right?
We have looked at the financials of I think 3 or 4 listed sort of tea chains in China. Most of them are experiencing this, and obviously this is related to the macroeconomy, and everybody is expecting the government to launch a large stimulus. So if that happens, things might become better.
So I guess this is why Chagee is kind of looking for other
markets
to grow as well, which is why they entered Malaysia, Thailand.
Singapore.
They recently re-entered Singapore. Not so recent. They've been here for almost a year.
In that one, less than a year, they've opened, I think, like at least 10.
How many stores do they have now in Singapore?
Probably more than 10.
I think 11, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. But this number is probably meaningless, right? Because next month it will be a different number.
Open one at One North, please.
No, they shouldn't.
I want Chagee nearby the office so I can buy it.
Oh, but in more exciting news, I think they've also expanded to the US, or they have plans to expand to US, LA.
They're planning to open.
They have one store in the US, which I think a month ago they said that it will launch very soon. And last weekend, a friend of mine was saying that who's living in LA saying that you can already buy it. It's probably on the trial run.
So what's their concept in the US? Are they similarly doing like
Similar.
a very big
Similar.
So they're
So
positioning themselves very similarly to Starbucks in a
yes,
sense,
I
but more milk tea focused.
I think they try to sort of popularize this sort of tea concept across the globe, and not only the logo, right? You see how they call their outlets. They call it tea houses. Like Starbucks is like coffee houses, right? So whether it will work or not, we don't know because there are so many factors which are unknown. But we know it's very, very tough.
That's true, because I mean, even looking at a brand like Starbucks that is already so established, obviously when they grow and to become established in global markets, there's a lot of resources that you need in the back end, and you need a very, very good leadership to kind of guide the organization.
Yeah, so if you look at recently, they already learned a lesson in Vietnam, right? So their first store in Vietnam, which was about to open, then they had an issue with the map. I mean, because Vietnam and China has this dispute over some islands, and that caused a huge backlash in Vietnam. But I hope that because of that incident, that they have learned and they become more sensitive. They hire the right people to do the right checks before they do any launch.
I think that's important as well, especially when you're expanding overseas, right? Making sure you hire the right people that can help you. Because obviously now Chagee is going to the US, and I think their first store is likely to be self-operated.
They have to do it by themselves first, right? So to show that okay, this concept can actually work before they convince anyone to put in money and become a franchisee. And Chagee now they have IPO'd, so they probably have a good war chest. The business in China is still profitable, so they have a bit of time to figure this out.
I think that's the thing, right? Obviously, it will take them some time to figure out the differences in the market, and of course, what kind of concept would work better, especially for Chagee, because it's not like people in the US don't drink tea.
No, I think for them it's more like boba and coffee.
Rather than just milk
tea.
And having high quality tea.
Yeah, I mean, how do you convince people to sort of say that okay, let's hang out? I mean, at the Chagee instead of Starbucks.
Yeah. Also, I think Chagee is probably
I wonder
something
if
that's
Chagee
more
will have...
difficult for them to pronounce.
No, I wonder if Chagee will have a similar price point to Starbucks in the US. Because right now, at least in Singapore, it's slightly cheaper.
I think these are the metrics that they will test because this is something I heard from a friend from Luckin, and they said in China across all the chains, Chagee is the most similar to them in terms of digital operations. So I mean, if you see the numbers, they have like 177 million users, registered members on their mini program on WeChat, on Alipay, right? So I mean, which is the equivalent of app outside China. So they have the ability to figure out what the customers want. They have the ability to adjust the parameters. So outside China, the main thing is whether they can build organization which fit into that market, leveraging their expertise as well as the sort of the strength of the local team you can find in the local market.
Okay. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Impulso podcast. We hope that you guys enjoyed today's short episode about Chagee. If you guys are interested in more about bubble tea, we do have a couple of reports that will be linked in the show notes below. And of course, if you guys do like this video and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest happenings and trends in tech, new retail, and the broader digital economy. Thank you and bye-bye.
Do you notice I have a Chagee cup?
Yes,
Okay.
we didn't show it. Chagee, there's no Chagee inside because there's no Chagee at One North.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.